All right, this is ITS128, and today is the 21st of February, and I think we're still in chapter 5. Let me check and see. This is 20. Yes, we're still in chapter 5, and so let me share my screen here. Share my screen, optimization. Okay, here we go. Sharing my screen, and put this over here. And it's this day. It is this day. I don't need them. I need it that thick. And so let me see where we are with the slides. Chapter 5 slides in not here. Thaw space. This one. This one. This one. Chapter 5. I remember. I quit when we started talking about the open file dialog and the save file dialog. So we are okay. So I guess what I'll do is I will go over. I will review this open dialog file dialog business, and then I'll just kind of leave it at that, and then Tuesday I'll come up with an assignment. Okay, so I won't. So today's just pay attention. Of course, it's I've just these lectures, especially in a class like this, your computer programming classes. Well, in a lot of classes like this, statistics, whatever, it's better to get good at getting information out of the textbook. I guess in theory you should read the textbook first, and then come to class and you hear what I say, and it just kind of reinforces you're reading the textbook. But we know we don't usually do it that way. Fortunately, you've got my video, so if you really want to do it that way, you can come here and go, oh, that's interesting. Go to the textbook, read through it, see if there's anything you missed, and then if you want to, you can go back and look at the video again. What the video is good for, of course, is when I go over assignments, or I give you hints on assignments, or I describe assignments. But I do owe you a lecture. I do owe you a lecture in the class. So, but if we do go to the textbook, let's see, do I have a copy of the textbook someplace? Do I have it in here? I'm going to sign on to my other Laulima here and pull down my old version of the textbook. By the way, a new version of this textbook for this class is coming out. It's a new. We're actually on. Well, there's the textbook I have in here, which is which, as you know, is which uses Visual Studio 2012. I have a version here someplace. I'm going to put this in my DOS space. I actually think it might be better for me. Open with Reader. So we're in chapter 5. So let me Now, how is this different than what we talk about here? Open file dialog 34. Okay, so it's only 10 slides. So let me first see what we have here. Okay, they're different. Open file dialog is used if you're reading a file usually, and save file dialog is used if we're saving, if we are if we're going to write. Open is for reading, saving is for writing. Now let me just check and see if there's an error here. Okay, you know, okay, so this textbook, okay, we're going to be two textbooks behind. Let me see. I actually have the other textbook. Let me go to Vital Source. Sign in. Chapter 5. Types of files. We're not gonna. Okay, so yeah, this edition does also. Okay, so this talks about storing data onto a disk, and I guess that can be valuable in some sense. But you know, we're talking history here, and you know, rotating a magnetic disk, rotating around, and there's heads that you know, apertures and heads, and there's access time and all that kind of stuff, and that's kind of getting to be obsolete because solid state drives are becoming more and more common these days, and you know, sectors and cylinders and platters and all that. But I guess it's you know, kind of useful. But see, we talked about the stream writer object and how we use that to open a file. Is there a way I can make this bigger? Stream, we declare the object that we use is going to be this variable called, and we can name it anything we want, but in these examples we name them output file for writing, and we name them input file for reading, just to make it make more sense to us when we're manipulating these variables or these objects. But of course you can name them anything. It's the type. It's the type that's the important part. And so, and the first thing, so in this case, we declare an object called, and we're going to call it output file. We could call it Fred if we wanted to, but we call it output file, makes sense. And then this is how we sort of connect or attach our output file variable to an actual physical file that's sitting on your disk. And there's a couple of ways that we can, this is for writing, and we can attach the file using this. This is a class. It's a static class, so we can. It's a method for us to use, and it connects this output file object variable that we just created to this file called courses.txt, and it's create. It's the create text method, that as opposed to append text method. Create text method will actually create a brand new file. If the file happens to exist already, that's okay. It erases everything in it and recreates it as though it's a brand new file. And then we can start writing stuff to it. And then when we're done, we can close the file, and then we're done. Once we close the file, then we can look at it. We can't, in some cases that we may be able to, but we really should not look at the file until it's closed. So in other words, when you write your programs, and it's very, you may very well, while the program is running, while it's waiting for some input or something, you may have opened the file. You may have opened the file, and you maybe have not closed it yet. That means the file's open. That means it's ready to be accessed by your program. And if you go in there, you switch over to File Manager in Windows, and you open up the file and you look at it, you mess with it, it could mess up your program, maybe. And so there's also a write method, but I think we probably only use WriteLine for the most part. Well, here's write. Okay, write does not put a return new line. So WriteLine writes a line at a time, whereas write will just write right next to each other until you do a write line. So writing a text file. And so here's a bunch of code that we open up a file, we write some names to it, we read some names in, we input some names from a text box, and then we write them out to the file, and we close the file. When we're writing numbers to a text file, we're basically converting them to strings because they have to be written out as strings, as you see here. And here's appending to an existing file. So append just means take a file and add some stuff onto the end of it. Don't delete it. Oh, by the way, I'm not sure. The file may not have to exist. So if the file does not exist, I think it just opens it up as a brand new file. But the point is it's not going to delete anything that's there. Create text or append text. Oops, what did I just do? Exceptions. Stream writer. Exception handling. Writing numerical data. Appending. So I guess it doesn't need to exist beforehand. Okay, so specifying the location of an output file. Oh, okay, that's just, okay, that's, if you don't put a path in front of it, it's gonna write it down into your debug folder, which might be hard to find the first time you use it. Okay, and then there's reading. Reading is the same kind of thing. You generally read a line at a time, and so there is a property that tells you whether or not you're at the end of the file or not. So read line will read the whole thing up until this new line character, which is either a /R or /N or both. Here's reading numerical data. You're actually just reading, you're reading a text. You're reading text, so you have to use int parse. And so with reading, you read you generally have a loop, and you detect the end of file using the end of stream method. End of stream property. Doesn't have parentheses, so it's a property. Here's an example where we declare a new variable object called input file, just because it makes sense to call it that, but it can be called anything. It is the type is a stream reader, and this connects this new input file object that you just declared up here. It's a stream reader type object. And this connects it to a file which we're calling numeric data.txt. Opens it up. And this is how you read from it. Read line, and we're parsing it into numbers and so on. And so we want to loop this. This continually loops until this end of stream property is set. It becomes false. No. While it's false, and so in other words, while we're not at the end of the stream, or while we're not at the end of the file, keep on reading. Keep on reading until we are at the end of the file. Here's an example of calculating a running total. You type in a bunch of stuff. It's going to total it up and put it in a file here. So I might take an assignment that we already have and have you add this to it. All right. Here we are. So this is where we are now. Open file dialog and save file dialog. So let me go back to here. Oh, I wanted to check to see. So let me just use this textbook here. And okay, so open file dialog. The open file dialog and the save file dialog controls allow your application to use standard Windows dialog boxes, which of course are nice. For opening and saving files, these allow the user to specify the file's name and location. So for open file dialog, the open file dialog control displays a standard Windows open dialog box, such as the one shown here. And the way you add the open file dialog control to your project is it's going to be in your toolbox, and you find it and you just drag it over, and you drag it over onto the space, and it'll make it available for you, and then you can start using it. So in other ways, you can double click on the tool. It'll be in the dialogues group. So maybe I'll start opening this thing up while it's opening up, and you can drag it over. You can drag it over onto the form, but you're not going to see it on the form. You're going to see it down. Let me sign in here real quick. You'll see it down in an area called the component tray. Figures. Here's an example. This is Visual Studio 212. Looks a little different. So you got this toolbox here, and you'll double click on this, or you can drag it over here, but it'll stick it down here in this thing called the component tray. So you'll see it down there, and it'll have a name and everything to it. And so you can so here here so we've in this code you can display the open dialog box by calling the open file dialogs control show dialog method. And here we've changed the name of open file dialog. We've changed the name of it to open file. I would prefer something like DLG open file or something like that. And in most cases, you'll want to know whether the user clicked the open button or the cancel button. The cancel button to dismiss because you may open it up and then decide, change your mind, you want to cancel, hit cancel. And so so you may do something like this, and then there's this enumerated, structure, class, whatever you want to call it. So so this may be how you do it. So this is your code, okay? So just by having this there, so you have this if statement. You have this if statement, and inside the if statement, this is evaluated, and to evaluate this, you need to execute this. You have to execute it to evaluate it because you have to get a value back. And in executing this pops up the open dialog box. Does that have a picture of it? Yeah, like this. Well, this is saving. This. So this thing pops up, and it allows you to select a file, or you type in a new file, or you type it in. And then the user is either going to type in a file or going to click the cancel button. Sorry, cancel button or cancel. You're either going to type something in and click open, or you're going to cancel. And so if it returns open, if they click the open button, this is going to be true. This will be true. And so this shows you how you can test that. And so so if the person did type in a file name or selected a file name, then we're going to be in this code here. And this code here, this open file dialog box control, which is right here, renamed, like that. There will be a property, and the property will be called file name, and that contains the file name. And then so we are opening a file to read, right? We're going to open a file to read. So we've declared a stream reader object we're going to be used to access this file that we're going to read. And we're going to name our program inside the name. We're going to name this object that we're going to use to access this file. We're naming it input file. And here, just like for reading a file, you got to use this file open text method, and it's going to open this file. So instead of your code actually specifying, hard coding the name of a file, you're going to ask the user for the name of a file. And so now our input file stream reader is connected to the file, and then we can go ahead and process this file. And of course, this if statement, if you click cancel, then we're down here, and it says, okay, you canceled it or whatever. So we can set an initial directory method. There's a method. We can set the initial directory. That way, we're sort of pointing into the right place if we want to do that. That way, when we open the file, when we do the open file dialog, when this executes, it's gonna open up in this directory to begin with. Kind of makes things easier. Kind of puts you in the right place. There is a title property for the title open dialog box title bar, which is, you know, up here, open, I guess up here. Okay, now, okay, so that's open. There's save file dialog control, which is similar, except for you can browse the file. It's a save as. It'll be save as, and so it looks different. Save as, and so yeah, you can select a file that's already exists, and then you're gonna overwrite it, probably. It has much in common. Save dialog control opens a standard Windows Save dialog box, such as the one shown on Figure 5-5. A Save As dialog box allows the user to browse the system and select the location for the file, but it also allows you to type in the name of the file, which is probably what you want to do instead. It's the same as open file dialog, similar. It's you say same thing. You find a control. So if we open up a new project here, I'm not going to do much here. I'm just going to open this up. It doesn't matter where to open it up. So open the toolbox here. And if we pop open this thing, dialogues, there's the open file dialog, which puts it down in the tray here, or the save file dialog, which puts it down the tray here. And I kind of prefer to change the name of these to something that's easier to remember. And so save dialog is usually used for writing. So we associate with a stream writer object that we create. In this case, open file. And again, same kind of thing. If it's the guy, if the user, you know, types in a file name and clicks save, then it's going to return OK. And you can do a bunch of stuff like write to a file. It's going to return the name of the file, and you can write to it just like it's hard-coded. You can initialize the directory just like we do before, and there's a title property. So you know, so that's it. All right, so I should have came up with an assignment, okay, but I didn't. Let me see. The assignment I'm going to come up with is going to be something similar to the one I had last semester, and it'll be some sort of names thing. Let's see, am I going to do that? What was the other assignment? I might want to change it. No, can't do much with factorial calculator. All right, I'm going to come up with, I'll probably use the same assignment I did last time, which is you'll have a, you record a bunch of names, and you'll be able to read up your file of names, and you'll be able to delete names, add names, and you'll be able to sort names because the sorting is covered in this chapter. You'll be able to search for names. But let's see, I guess let's see if there's anything in this. So I open file looks like this. Open file dialog. Save. So this is kind of nice because it shows the difference between nice difference between the two. Open is used for opening for reading, and saving is used for opening for writing. So if we have a let me just throw some stuff up. Let me throw a text box, and let me throw a button. And I'm going to make both of these big. I'm going to say add name. I'm just doing this on the fly. Enter name. Um, um, add name. Um, hmm. Open file. Okay, so let me throw some stuff in here. Let me, where's some code? Um, I'm gonna copy this code here. That's terrible. I'm gonna go open. Let me double click here. Fix this up a little bit. Terrible. Bigger so you can see it. All right, here we go. Some nice stuff here. And all right, stream writer. Why is it squiggly? Okay, I'll get to that later. This is called save file show dialog. It's not save file. It's called Save file dialog 1. Should name it something better. Save file dialog 1. Dialog 1. There we go. Squiggly. Okay, so it's because the type or namespace name stream writer could not be found. Are you missing a using directive? Yes, I am missing a using directive. There's no using directive up here. So what I can do is I can put the mouse over the stream writer and see this little dealy bopper down here. I'm going to click down on that. I'm just going to click down on that arrow and goes, ooh, look, it suggests something for me. Well, I'm just going to click on that nice suggestion there, and boom, there it is right here. Oh, and oh, look, no more squigglies. Why is this thing squiggly? What did I just do? Oh, oh, I know why. Let's see. Um, I think this should be. How do I return? How do I return the name of the file that was? Well, anyway, I need to. What was the name of this? What is the name of this? This is called text box 1. That should work. So the name of the file is going to be in there. No, never mind. No, this is the text. I have to know what this is. What is returned there? So let me go to this box, message box. You click on open file dialog box. Ah, it is. Okay, okay, got it. Oh, it's the name of that. Show dialogue. It's the name of that. Okay. So this book is wrong. It's bad book. Bad book. This is the name of that. Oh, this is for reading. This is reading. I want to go writing. Save dialogue. Save dialogue. Open file. Save dialogue. Save. That's what I thought. Okay. Open. Yeah, it should be this. Yeah, yeah, okay. I wonder why it didn't work before. Okay, so right, of course. So this is the dialog box. A return a property is the file name that you selected, and that's this. Okay, so that's that. And um, oh, uh, upper file, right line, uh, text, text box one dot text. There we go. All right. And then I got to close, right? To close this thing. Yeah, file close. Okay, so let's do a close. What time is it? Okay, good. Oops, didn't want to name it that. Shoots. Okay, this close. This should be just this. So I should actually close it here. I'll put file close. So that way, each time I open it here, I open. Okay. All right, that's because it's got to be the same. I'm gonna put it here. Okay, so all right, let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. Start. Wait a minute. I did something wrong. Button 2, click. What's button 2? Button 1, button 2. Okay, button 2. This opens the file. Button 2 opens the file. All right, I'm gonna have to, I'm sorry I'm doing all this stuff on the fly. This opens the file. This is gonna set, okay, this creates the stream writer. This opens it up, connects it to the, and connects it. So this connects it to the dialog. This connects the name of the file to this open file. And then I need to have an add name. This is what writes it to the text box. Or this writes it into the file. And then I should close it here. All right, so when the form starts up, it creates this variable, this object called, it creates this stream writer object called open file. It's not until you click this button, I should have named these buttons. It's not until you click button 2, which is this one, button 2. Let me name this. ETN. I'll forget it. Just remember that this is button 2 and this is button 1. All right, so let's see if this works. Open file. Opens up the dialog box. Can I just put it here? Sure, I'll put it here. Test file.txt. Okay, fine. Save. I should save it at the end, right? Ah, shoot. I don't think this is going to work. Where did I open it? Here? Oh, it did work. But rich twice for some reason. Well, anyway, it's kind of a dumb example. I opened the file and then I collected some names, and then I exited. Now, why did it do it twice? Oops. I don't know why I did it twice. Maybe I hit it twice. Open file. I'm going to write the same file over again. So I do want to replace it. Joe. Add name. Fred. Add name. Exit. Okay. Joe Fred. Okay, great. Works. I want to do this. When I click add, this is add file. I'm going to say write it, clear it, and text box 1 focus. Open file. Test file 2.txt. Okay. John. Paul. George. Ringo. Exit. There we go. Okay, so that works. All right. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so that's great. So that worked. Sorry, I will come up with a much more fun, better example next time. Where's my screen? So I will come up with a better example next week for our assignment, but at least I exposed you a little bit to this to the save dialog boxes, or to the dialog boxes for accessing, for specifying the files for reading and writing. Are there any questions? All right, thanks for watching.